Hey guys, welcome to Tasting Tuesdays. This is a new channel that I'm starting up. I'm really excited to be back doing reviews. Last time we did it, it was like just wine. I was doing it with my good friend Ryan Parker. It was just tough to, find the right wines, to have our schedules match up, where we could always, be together for every episode. And so I wanted to continue to bring value to you guys and to review different things. And I've also kind of moved a little more into whiskey, which I want to talk about today. And so I just figured we call it Tasting Tuesdays. I'll be always here. Sometimes we'll have a guest. Sometimes we'll do wine. Sometimes we'll do whiskey, tequila, beer, white wine, whatever. We'll try a bunch of different stuff. This is Tasting Tuesdays with Ryan. So today, on our first review, we're starting off with something I'm really excited to try. It's called Nikka Days whiskey. Most of you don't know this about me, but I've kind of gone through a phase of different drinks, things that I've been really into. It kind of started with Scotch probably 3 or 4 years ago. I had a Glenfiddich 12 year and I was like, this is really great. It was kind of light. I always thought bourbon and some Tennessee whiskey was a little too rich and sweet. So I really loved the kind of lightness of the Scotch. The more I drank it, I ended up finding even that to be a little too heavy. So I started drinking tequila. For the last year, I've been mainly just tequila. And then, I'll drink wine and beer and some other things, but if I'm going to have a drink of liquor, it's been tequila because it's so light. It's got these floral aromas and citrus and orange zest and different things, and I just loved how light it was. And so just a couple weeks ago, I tried a Japanese whiskey. I actually tried Suntory Toki, which led me down a rabbit hole. It's amazing. If you haven't done any research on Japanese whiskey, there is a total shortage right now. It got really popular in like 2015, but 10 years before it was not popular, and so they weren't making enough to keep up with the demand. And so now it's gone. Basically, all these great Japanese whiskeys are gone until 2030. The next 8 years, we're going to be drinking stuff like Nikki Days, which this is an NAS, no age statement whiskey, so there's no age on it. It means it's blended. It might have some old stuff. It might have some young stuff. Still from one of the best distilleries in Japan, Nikka. Nikka was, a distillery that was founded by a guy, and his name was Masataka Taketsuru. And he actually went to Scotland to learn how to make whiskey in the 20s. And when he came back, there's another distillery called Suntory. And they make the famous Yamazaki whiskey that has won a bunch of awards and everything recently. So they sent this guy to Scotland to learn how to make whiskey. He comes back, he does a stint at Suntory, and then decides that he wants to make more peated whiskey, stuff like you get with the Islay Scotches. It's like a lot smokier with peated moss. And so he takes his distillery up north called the Nikka Distillery, and he starts it, I think, in the 30s. So this is a very old distillery that's been doing this for years. So this is a kind of a new release for them, something new, again, because of the shortage. And on their website, it says bottled at 40%. It's called Nikka Days, a delicate balance achieved by the skillful blending of mellow grain whiskeys and slightly peated malts. So the peated is the smoky whiskeys that I like, but I'm not like a huge fan of it. It's kind of interesting, but it can be kind of ashy, fireplacey. It can be a little intense. So I like that it just says slightly peated. An impressive floral aromas, this expression offers an extremely silky mouthfeel and flavors that rise and expand, leaving a delightful aftertaste. So again, I'm very excited. I have tried a couple of their whiskeys, some of them really expensive ones that are like closer to $100, and I've really liked it. So they've been really great. So I'm really excited now to try this, because this is coming in at about $40 in Los Angeles. I'm sure at other places it might be a little bit more, but this was $39.99 at Total Wine. and I've seen it at a bunch of places. So this isn't a hard one to find today when some of the other ones are hard to find. I'm immediately getting that like floral, cinnamon, touch of vanilla. I mean, it's very light. I mean, I've heard Japanese whiskey described as the white wine of whiskey. I'm definitely getting that here. I'm not getting like this explosion of like oak and wood that you might get on a bourbon. I'm also not getting that, heavy peat, smoke, and richness that I'm getting, on some scotches. I get a little bit of honeysuckle. Almost has like a little bit of a fruit element. Like an orange or a lemon twist, kind of like when you make an old fashioned, you throw that lemon and orange on there and kind of the smell you get while you're drinking your drink. Yeah, I mean, it's very light, it's very nice, good color, just a light gold. I mean, this probably hasn't been aged more than 5 or 7 years, but I'm getting a lot on the nose. Let's give it a taste. Whoa. I didn't get much of the peat on the nose, but whoa. Like on the mouthfeel, just immediately I'm getting that peat. That smoky, peated moss that they smoke with the barley while they're cooking it down to extract the sugars before they make the whiskey. And yeah, I'm getting a lot of the peat on the palate. Wow. Orange, cinnamon, nutmeg. Some floral, like a white flower. A little bit of honey. And then that peat really punches, but then it kind of leads. And then the mid palate, end palate, no peat. It's all fruits and spice and honey. And there's like a sweetness to it, but it's not sweet like bourbon. You get that malt. There's like in the mid palate, you really get scotch. It comes through, but not like a heavy aged scotch or a smoky scotch, like a really light scotch. But I mean, it's so different than scotch. Wow. It's amazing the delicacy of like all the different flavors together. The floral, the fruit, the honey, the spice, and then that smoke spice that's the peat. Just like a hint of it. So I think between the two whiskeys that you could probably try as you're getting into Japanese whiskey, one would be the Suntory Toki, which is kind of everywhere now. They made it to be kind of a mixer to make highballs and cocktails with. They do blend it from 3 of their best distilleries at Suntory, the Yamazaki, the Hibiki, and the Hakshuru. Might be saying that wrong, but they have 3 distilleries and they blend that, and that's kind of their cheap $30 release. This at $40, significantly better. I mean, this is punching well above the $40 range. I mean, this could be easily $60, $70 scotch. I mean, it's so interesting, but you still get a little bit of that floral and lightness that you get with the Suntory Toki. But I think the peat and the cinnamon and spice that you get and the hint of oak on top of the floral and the white flower, orange peel, lemon zest, like on top of that really pushes this to another level. And I was really excited to try this. I had heard so many good things, and wow. Nikki Days. This is for the daily whiskey. So this is their lowest end. Amazing. Out of, I don't know how I'm going to rate things on here. I'll probably go back and forth with different rating systems, but I think if I was gonna do like out of 10, I would give this, you know, a 6.8, 7.5, somewhere in there. I mean, for $40, if you like Japanese whiskey, this is good. And if you haven't tried Japanese whiskey, I suggest trying this and trying the Suntory Toki, because they're both, you know, under $50. You can find them in most places. The Suntory is a little cheaper than this, but this is great. Awesome. It's fantastic. I'm gonna have a glass of this. Thank you guys for joining me on Tasting Tuesday, and we'll see you back here next week.